Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today in Enlisted I thought we'd have a look at the Burning Sky update which just released. I was actually going to go over the devlogs today, but it looks like they've straight up just released the whole update today. So now you're able to actually get access to all of the new features that are in the new updates. We've had a look at some of the devlogs in the past, such as the weather and lighting improvements, the mission editor, and also the new game mode, which all look very fun. But also at the same time, there is a bunch of different levels which have been added to the game, and also some premium vehicles, obviously around the idea of Burning Sky. Many rocket vehicles. You've got the M4 Calliope with the T-34 rocket launcher setup, and then also the Panzerwerfer 42. Both of these are available in the Invasion of Normandy campaign, and you also have access to a BM-824 with the Katyusha launcher for the USSR in the Battle of Moscow campaign. If you are personally interested in these vehicles when it comes to the game, you can purchase them off the Gaijin store in a bundle, or you can purchase them well, actually, I don't know if you can purchase them individually. It looks like you can't. So you have to buy the Rocket Bundle if you want to support the channel and also maybe get a bonus discount on other items on the store. It is worth using the partner code, which you find in the description. That should give you that. And also, as I said, will support me, which is always nice. Personally, I don't think it's a great idea to pick up these bundles. I think the Calliope is going to be very overpowered, at least when it starts off, so we're going to have to see if it continues to be that way. And then the Panzerwerfer 2 probably won't be as useful, but we'll have to see what goes on with it in general. We've talked about the weather and lighting improvements before, but what they've basically done is added new weather effects to the game. So now you'll have sunsets, sunrises, gloomy weather, and also thunderstorms and lightning. And they've also added volumetric clouds, and they've added some cloud quality settings to the PC version, so you can change how they're set up. You can also enable new animated volumetric clouds on PC, as they are disabled by default. You can also improve the balance between dark rooms and bright light, and the sun in general. It will be less blinding in any weather. We'll have to see if that is the case, because generally that is one of the issues when it comes to Enlisted, and the dark rooms thing is a massive issue, especially in Moscow, where people just hide in houses and you can't see into them, which is a bit of a pain. They also added the mission editor, so now you can literally create your own missions, and they're also going to give you some instructions to help you out. So if you are one of those people who thinks the maps in Enlisted are bad, which some of them definitely are, I'm looking at you, Hanger, you can now make your own. So to kind of throw your hat into the ring and make some cool bangers. Then also at the same time, there's the new game mode, which of course is the tug of war setup, a new confrontation mode. Definitely looking forward to that one as well, because any new game mode is always nice to see. They're also adding in a ton of new missions for each of the campaigns. Each campaign is getting itself a confrontation mission, which is absolutely wonderful. So you won't have to play a specific campaign to be able to get access to it. So the confrontation levels are going to be on the Voskhod settlement for Moscow, Gare de Saint-Lô for Normandy, the Verbig station for Berlin, the Kharkiv Cave Village for Tunisia, and the Univermag for the Battle of Stalingrad. They've also added in some invasion missions for each one. Looks like nothing for conquest this time. So Vyasokovo Village West is now an invasion mission for Moscow, La Perelle Village for Normandy, the Railway Bridge for Berlin, which should be a slaughterfest, the Gorge South for Tunisia, and also Communist Street East for the Battle of Stalingrad. So we'll see how those invasion missions actually play out, but personally, I'm really interested in the confrontation mode, since that is the new one. And so far, most of the game modes that have been added to Enlisted have been a lot of fun. They've added a ton of new levels to the game, including vehicles and weapons, so we'll go over the weapons part first. These are the part of the devlogs that I haven't covered yet, because I was obviously busy with other things. Basically, for the weaponry, they've added new weapons in the Invasion of Normandy, the M9 bazooka for the US, and also the PPZB 43 Offenrohr for Germany. These are now for the AT Gunner 2s, so that's where They're in the campaign, they're at the end of it, and you're going to need these to take on some of the heavy hitters that they are adding to Normandy, or at least added to Normandy in the form of the Tiger. Then also for the Battle of Berlin, they've added the Soviet AVS-36 sniper rifle, the German STG-44 in its sniper configuration, and also the AS-44 assault rifle as a premium, as part of a premium squad for the USSR, and the STG-45M assault rifle as part of the premium squad for Germany. So very heavy-hitting premium squads is probably the best way of putting it. These things should tear through, very similar to how the PPD did as well. They also added some new weapons to Tunisia, the M1928A1 with the drum magazine, basically the Thompson, the one that you'll be used to for the Allies, and then the Beretta M38 with the extended mag for the Axis, which actually is a really nice gun. I really enjoy the Beretta. And it's got a good fire rate, good damage. Overall, it does very, very well. And then in Stalingrad, they've added the Mosin M9130 with an anti-tank grenade launcher for the USSR, and also the Kar-98K with an anti-tank grenade launcher for Germany. Now, they added also something else for Stalingrad, but we had to check which one is available for each one, because obviously you have the paid setup and then you have the, the general access stuff. So basically, for the general access of Stalingrad, you get the detachments with the anti-tank grenade launchers, and for full access, you get the armored vehicles. So basically, if you pay, you get the new armored vehicles. If you don't, you get these guys, the grenade launcher boys, which isn't too bad. It could be worse. New weapons have been added to Moscow. The SKT-40 sniper is part of a premium squad for the USSR, and the Gewehr 41 sniper is for Germany. So if you want a sniper premium squad. Also, impact grenades have been added to Normandy and Tunisia campaigns. So these are the ones which, once they hit something, they blow up, but they have a smaller blast radius, so we'll have to see how those go. You can also now get binoculars in all campaigns as well. Also, the flask has been added to all campaigns, which will regenerate the soldier's stamina quickly for some time, even during intensive action, so you can run around like a crazy chicken. Shovels have also been added to all campaigns, so now they can be used for digging soft ground or melee weapons, so that's fantastic. And also shovel efficiency has been improved, so they've increased the amount of earth dug with each action. Damage increased from 7.5 to 10, so just one hit should nearly whack somebody. Attack range increased by 25 centimeters, and attack speed increased by 20%. So big buffs for the good old spade. Also, engineer-made machine gun nests now have country-appropriate models. This is absolutely fantastic. So the Axis engineers in all campaigns will build the MG34, obviously. The Allied camp engineers for Normandy and Tunisia will build the Browning 1919A4. The Soviet engineers for Moscow and Berlin will build the Maxim Sokolov machine gun without the armored shield. And the engineers in the Battle of Stalingrad will build the Maxim machine gun with the armored shield, which should be quite nice. There's also going to be an option to move anti-tank guns added to all campaigns, thank God. We've been looking forward to that for a long time, so that's lovely to see. For PC only, they've changed the default control setting to switch weapon firing mode to the H key. That's kind of annoying. Hopefully it saved the presets. And also, they added authentic flamethrower cylinders to the Flammenwerfer 35 and 41, the M1M2, and also the ROX 2 for the Soviets, so that'll be beautiful to see. They're also adding a ton of new vehicles, which will inevitably annihilate infantry, probably. So we start off in the Battle of Moscow campaign, where they've added the T-34 1940 with the L11, and also the USSR, where they've added the Panzer III Ausf J with the L60 cannon. These are definitely not equal vehicles, but what can you do? Hopefully people don't massacre people too much in the T-34. Now, the Soviet side has the T-50, the T-28, and the T-34, which are all very powerful vehicles, while the Germans really only have the Panzer IV. So we'll have to see what goes on with that. For Berlin, somebody made a very stupid decision and has added the IS-2 1943 and the Tiger II-P. Good luck killing them. It's going to be really hard to kill them on many maps, especially the railway mission. Really not looking forward to fighting either of these vehicles, especially after my experiences against KVs in Stalingrad. The Battle of Stalingrad campaign gets the T-34-41 and the Stug-3 Ausf, but as we talked about before, these are only for paid members, which sucks for people. The Battle of Tunisia campaign, the Spitfire Mark 5C for the Allies, and the Bf-109F4 Trop for the Axis, so two vehicles which aren't going to be too useful, but can be used to counter some of the new attackers which have been added to the game. They've also added vehicle customization to all campaigns, with unique camouflages and historical decals. This is fantastic. Really happy to see that kind of, spread out to everybody. And then also, the look of the gunner sight is different for each country, and also better matches the historical look for each of the country's sites, which is always fantastic to see. They've also improved the control of wheeled armored vehicles with better grip and reduced skidding, so you're not going to just fly and float about the place. And the M3 Lee, they added the ability to control the commander's turret with the machine gun separately from other guns, which is quite nice. Also, now torn off parts of aircraft will be displayed when viewed from the cockpit, so you'll be able to see the physical damage that you are under. Also, the corrected spended armament is now displayed on aircraft in the hangar and in combat. And also PC only, they've changed the default controls for exiting vehicles alone to B, so make sure to get on top of that. Also, when it comes to AI soldiers, they've reduced the range at which AI soldiers react to the sound of a silenced weapon firing, so my guess is they won't be as locked on as they usually are. So now they've added the military rank system to the game as well. Your rank is defined based on the ratio of victories and defeats, the numbers of heroes in battle awards you earn, and the number of times you desert from battle. So we're going to have to see how this affects different stuff in the game, if it's going to be used for anything, or if it's just going to be a way of kind of showing off. Now, if there are no enemy soldiers on a strategic point, it's capture at full speed as possible with 4 allies present. If there are less allied soldiers, the point will be captured at a slower rate. So that's really going to affect the balance of each of the maps. We'll have to see how that goes. Grenades thrown by the player will now cause damage not only to the soldier who threw it. If the player switches to a new soldier before the grenade goes off, that soldier will now receive damage as well. So you can't quickly toss grenades, go to the next one, toss grenades, and keep doing that, and your soldiers are fine. So you're going to have to adapt how you generally play. That's a little skill that I've been using for a while, so I'm going to have to change up. Now rally points can't be built in a zone that will become inaccessible to the team after some time. Already existing points in the zone will be automatically destroyed. I mean, that's fair enough. The construction visualization when placing an engineer building is now displayed in the realistic difficulty mode in user missions. This is done to make it clear why it is not possible to build a structure in certain locations, which I'm completely fine with. Now, when you press the forward and sideways keys simultaneously, the soldier will swim at a 45-degree angle. Lovely, so you can drift when it comes to the swimming. Enemy ammo boxes can now be destroyed by bullets, explosions, or crushed by vehicles. This is wonderful. I'm surprised this wasn't in before. And also on consoles, they've changed the default control setting for marking the enemy to RB and R1, just to kind of help you guys out. They've changed a bunch of the interface stuff, so they've speeded up the rate at which your game profile updates from the server. This change will speed, for example, buying items and receiving Battle Pass rewards, which, is pretty nice. It'll mean that there won't be a lag between things. They've also improved the first-person mark setting. Now markers are set in the direction of the camera if you're not in aiming mode. Nice. They've also added a marker of a TNT charges thrown by allies, so you'll be able to see where they're going in. Added a hotkey to unlock campaign level rewards. Lovely. And now, identical rewards are grouped together in the reward log, and now only the highest multi-kill is shown in the reward log, which is super nice. It basically means that it won't be all cluttered, which is something that was definitely happening before. They've also added new icons for AP and APCR projectiles, so you can distinguish them better, and removed unnecessary interface elements when displaying the squad selection menu in the battle. So all those interface changes, incredibly positive. They've done a ton of little improvements to the game as well, in little areas to the gameplay. So they've improved the visuals of parts breaking off when an aircraft was damaged, as we talked about before, so you'll be able to see when it's critically damaged. The Feldfu B model of the Axis portable radio in the Tunisia campaign has been replaced with the Italian Stazioni RF-1, so a little bit more Italian looking there. The Allied anti-personnel grenade model for the Tunisia campaign has been changed from the Mark II grenade to the Mills grenade, so once again, just slightly different stuff. The smoke grenade for the USSR has been replaced with the RDG-1, which will look really nice. The Axis smoke grenade model has been replaced with the SRCM Mod 35FL in the Tunisia campaign, and by the MB39 in all other campaigns. So they're really starting to get into every campaign has a unique feel, even with similar weapons, which is super cool. The TT pistol model has been updated, and the reloading animation has been added for when the magazine is empty. Allied-built anti-tank guns, AA guns, and machine guns are now marked with a red icon only when used by enemies, so you'll be able to tell if they're going to annihilate you. Allied sandbag barriers, anti-tank hedgehogs, and barbed wire are no longer marked with a red icon, so, you won't get confused. Improve the action of climbing out of water on some shores, thank God. That is one of my pet peeves about the game, especially after they improved how ladders work. They added a hot sand effect on the horizon to some maps, probably the Tunisia ones. The Panzer II, extra detail from the damage model has been removed. Invisible tracks on tanks' frontal armor, that's probably a good thing. Because, you generally want what you see to be, what you shoot. Improve the visual quality of the 4 GPA, lovely to see, and also improve the look of burning vehicles. We'll have to see how that goes after destroying some tanks. Shooting from vehicle weapons is no longer available if the vehicle is underwater, surprisingly. And then the damage model and armor sheets of the Flak 38 cannon have been updated. The clip has been increased from 10 to 20 rounds. So you should be able to do a bunch of damage before reloading. Added a hint regarding the ability to exit vehicles alone without a squad. And now the sights of pistols and submachine guns using .45 ACP rounds have been set to range 40 instead of 100. So this includes the Thompson M3 and M50 Rising. So that should be a little bit better for close combat quarters. They've done a bunch of bug fixes as well, including fixing rare cases of AI soldiers falling through the floor. This would actually happen to me quite a lot on certain campaigns, so rare is definitely an interesting word for it. Crawling physics issues made soldiers on hillsides look like they were floating in the air. Well, yeah, because it seems like the way that it works is much more the horizontal and vertical campaign, plane instead of just a general diagonal one, so hopefully that's fixed. Soldiers aiming weapons were tilting their heads incorrectly and looking at their weapons instead of forward. So luckily they've fixed that one. It might look a bit more realistic now. Some cases where the ragdoll model could behave incorrectly and shake. Yeah, that's fair, especially when they were hanging from buildings. Soldiers' legs wiggling when placing their weapons on a bipod while lying down. That's fair. The GRB-39 could not be mounted on a bipod, should be able to now. And the soldier behind a stationary machine gun became invisible when switching to another squad member. That seems a bit broken. There was no way to heal when trying to activate the grenade launcher, could simultaneously heal and build when playing as an engineer, and they removed a hint about being healed while swimming. It was also impossible to resupply a weapon picked up in practice mode, and also they incorrectly displayed the damage analyzer when pointing at the corpses of soldiers. When selecting a perk to increase the range of throwing grenades, the range was increasing too much, so it was actually throwing it way too far. They overlapped icons in the block of information of the plane, so speed landing gear flaps has been fixed. Also, regular ally icon was displayed instead of a friendly icon in battle. There was also invalid display of vehicle markers at long distance and incorrect display of the assigned key prompts while changing control settings. The sight zoom was saved in the kill cam, and the soldier's head was not updated when modifying their appearance, and also didn't display the results of a kick vote. So a ton of fixes here. Also the lack of visual effects on the first shot of the tank's main gun firing. That actually happened a decent amount to me, but I didn't think it was a huge issue, but it's nice to see it fixed. Also the direction of the spray when the flamethrower jet hit surfaces was incorrect, so now that's fixed. Trees were sometimes not destroyed around the edges of bomb craters, and Soviet pilot parachutes were displayed incorrectly in the Moscow campaign. Same thing was happening with the Italian pilots in Tunisia, and destroyed crates were also blurred. I did see that as well. The weapons were shaded when the player stood close to the wall. Weapon surfaces shimmered when flying planes. Puddles appeared in craters from tank shots, and in some cases, the game crashed at minimal graphics settings. There was also a memory leak in PostFX renderer. I definitely had an issue with. And on Intel Xe cards, crashes were due to TDR, so it looks like they fixed that as well. The mission timer would also not show up after a team had run out of reinforcement points capturing a point, and the mission timer could be displayed after one of the teams won. The camouflage of the Panzer IV Aus H tank of the 16th Tank Regiment incorrectly displayed traces of applied Zimmerit. So hopefully with these, the game runs a bit smoother for people, because there was definitely ones in here which made it not run too well. They've also added a ton of stuff to missions, including additional cover on the Verbig Station and Railway Bridge missions, hopefully on the Railway Bridge mission, because otherwise that's just going to be an annihilation by vehicle. Then also, they've added additional cover to the Gogol Street missions, and if the attackers in destruction mode have no reinforcements left but set explosives, the end of the battle timer is also reset. They've also improved climbing up wooden ladders in the Kahif Cave Village, location for Tunisia, which is needed because a lot of those areas you pretty much need to use ladders if you're going certain ways. They've also improved the visual effect of snow in the fortified district of Moscow. They've changed the form of the last capture point in Manor on the Moscow campaign, and also they've changed the form on the point B for the Manor one for Moscow as well, and they've changed the form of the third capture point on the Voskhod settlement, so no more just fighting over that firehouse. Oh my god, the amount of times just running into death on that hill. Oh, we're gonna have to see how that continues on that one. They've also adjusted some respawn points and combat zone boundaries on the Voskhod settlement as well, and also changed some Quarry North ones for Moscow and respawn points for Unimag South in Stalingrad, vehicles in Ruins of Vaux and Normandy, and also adjusted some respawn points and combat zones in the Gorge North and also the Standard Gorge for Tunisia, plus Fortified District has some corrected borders. They've also fixed vehicles stuck on respawn in Omer North and Omer South or Normandy. Same thing when it comes to the Gorge and also Basu, Tunisia. They've also fixed a respawn point of attackers in the rear of defenders in Vyoskovo Village East on Moscow. Looks like a lot of changes to that mission, and fixed the location of ammunition resupply points for aircraft on the Verbig Station in Berlin campaign. They were way too close to the battlefield, if I remember. They've also improved the display of decals on the second point in the Voskhod settlement east for Moscow, and they fixed decals on strategic points 1 to 5 on the Gorge North on the Tunisia campaign as well. So we'll have to see how these little balance things change the game. They're adding a ton of content in this update, including, the mission editor, the rocket machines, and all of this. So we're going to have to see how useful a lot of these things are. Overall, the update looks kind of interesting. I'm very worried about the vehicles. Enlisted is predominantly supposed to be an infantry game, but it seems like every update, vehicles take over more and more and more. So we're going to have to see what goes on with that stuff. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Merciless Reaper, Jerry Provolt, Mega Dino King, Professor X1718, Orange Tail, Sakoshi Tiger, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, Moxie, B. Young, and Derek R., Barine, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.